Hi, I'm Larry London, and this is Border Crossings. On today's show, it's Nashville-based group of emo-punk rockers known as Free Throw. The group was formed in 2012 by Corey Castro. With several childhood friends, Corey uses music to help him with his personal struggles. And he opens up to us on today's show about the mental health issues facing youth today and how Corey overcame his own demons. Free Throw have a new CD, which is called Bear Your Mind. And they're here to discuss the new album and perform several tracks for us. So stay tuned to today's program with Free Throw coming up next on Border Crossings. Hi, my name's Larry London. We welcome you to Border Crossings. And on today's show, it's a Nashville-based punk emo band who are on the road for their debut album, which is called Bear Your Mind. They're here in D.C. for a show tonight, and I'd like to welcome to our studios Free Throw. Nice to have you guys here.
How's it going, Larry?
Thanks for having
welcome.
us.
Thank you for coming in. I know it's early for a band to come on the radio at this hour and do the morning interview stuff and performance thing. Now, how about the new album? You've put out a couple of EPs.
We actually have one LP before this on a smaller record label, but this is our first actual big release, I would say. But it's I love the album, and it's been out for a little bit now, but it's really cool to finally put out something that sounds good and sounds nice and wasn't recorded in a basement, kind of thing.
And you guys have been together, I guess, 6 years now?
Yeah, almost 6. Over 6, I think.
Yeah, almost 7 at this point.
Yeah.
How did you all meet?
Me and Larry met in high school.
Yeah. Whenever I just got out of high school, we were playing in mutual bands, and then those bands kind of fizzled out near the end, and we're like, hey, we were hanging out and just let's start a band. We played so many shows together, so that kind of happened, and fast forward 6 years, and I'm stuck with it.
Started with a couple beers and a couple ideas,
And you were just parked out in front of the building today?
Yeah,
Is that
they just picked me up on the side of the street, and I was like, hey, I need a ride, man.
You happen to have a guitar, so you're in.
Yeah. No, it was a similar situation. We played in bands separately together and met that way. So.
And Nashville, is that a thriving punk scene?
At the time, it definitely was. Now it's kind of slowed down a little bit. A lot of the bands from that time have started touring or have left, and there's just not as many bands coming up. But there's still a punk scene in Nashville. It's around that time, it was one of my favorite scenes, I think, in the entire United States. It was really fun.
Wow. And I know that the name emo has been applied to your music. And the last time I heard emo was Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco. So, I mean, emo, what does emo mean?
It just means emotional. Taking your emotions and just kind of wearing them on your sleeve. That's what I would explain it as. And the kind of emo that we play kind of derives from a little bit of underground punk emo in the 2000s. There were a lot of bands that a lot of people don't know about, a band called Snowing, a band called Algernon Cadwallader, and it's just these random bands. Most of them were from Philly, I think.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Philly kind of inspired the scene, I think, a little bit. And over the last few years, they had a thing that was an emo revival, whereas these old bands were bringing back the sounds of kind of 90s underground emotional rock. And we kind of just came in from that aspect of it. But we do have the influence from bands like Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance and stuff like that. It's definitely there. The pop sensibilities are definitely there as well. But that's what I would explain it as, just emotional music, just pouring your emotions into this song. That's why it's very hard on your sleeve type thing.
Well, I know that, back in the 70s, the underground punk scene was really, Lou Reed and a lot of groups like the Velvet Underground and things were really, really thriving in New York and whatnot, where punk was the most popular in the United States. What is punk like today?
It's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Punk is it's definitely taken on its it definitely tends to lean more towards the political side a little bit, but it's more about just kind of standing up for what you believe in. It's kind of taken that whole screw you attitude of punk from the 70s and stuff like that, and just kind of taking a whole new meaning with it, screw you, this is what we believe in, we're gonna do it, even if it's something that's political, or if it's just just being yourself. And I think that's what the punk scene's about nowadays. It's really, punk in general has become a lot more about being yourself and having fun. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's have some fun with Free Throw. We ask if you guys would do a song for us. We'd love to hear some live music. Bear Your Mind is the name of the new album. So if you guys wouldn't mind, what are you going to do for us?
We're going to do a song called Andy and Aya. We also, along with Bear Your Mind, we also just put out an EP called Missing Pieces that are a few songs from Bear Your Mind, but stripped back to be acoustic, kind of like this.
Oh, cool.
Which is really cool. So it's kind of nice that we had that because now we know how we can play like acoustic tracks. But yeah, we're going to play a song called Andy and Aya. And
is there a story behind this song?
yeah, the song's actually about medication. I was taking medication for a while for anxiety and for depression. And it was making me feel really just neutral to everything. And that's like I ended up going on to a different medication and doing other things. But the song's just kind of about how it made me feel in that time, and how I felt bland to everything.
Well, we're going to talk more about that because I want to hear more about that as well.
Absolutely.
So Free Throw are here, and we're going to listen to some live music.
Yeah. Awesome. Ready? Yeah.
Where am I? I'm lost in missing pieces, like a puzzle from the thrift store left in disarray. Bearing my thoughts are underwhelming. Nothing's ever vibrant. I feel bland and gray. I'm constantly asking myself, what's the difference? It all seems the same. It makes no sense, and I should care. I walk around and I continue to breathe in the air. Where am I? I'm lost and missing pieces, like a puzzle from the thrift store left in disarray. Bearing my indifferent, and that's not okay. What's the difference? It all seems the same. Just forget this. Soon it all will change. What's the difference? It all seems the same. Just forget this. Soon it all will change. Lost and missing pieces. Soon it all will change. I'm not better, I'm indifferent. Soon it all will change. I'm lost and missing pieces. Soon it all will change. Better, I'm indifferent. Soon it all will change.
All right.
Hey, sounding great. Free Throw.
Yeah.
Live here on Border Crossings on the Voice of America. So that would be an acoustic version. You'd get that on the EP.
Yeah.
And the EP is called Missing Pieces.
Missing Pieces, yeah. That's where the title comes from.
Well, yeah, it all works together. Isn't that amazing how things come
circle.
together like that?
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
you talked about some struggles that you'd had and things that you're on medication and whatnot. These days, it seems like we're talking a lot about mental health.
Yeah,
we are
absolutely.
talking. I mean, and it's been some tragedies. Chester Bennington and things like that. And Logic came out with suicide prevention.
Yep.
The phone number for the suicide prevention hotline number. So I had Mary Lambert on, and she talked about all the different things she's gone through. Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons has talked about his struggles with bipolar disorder and whatnot. How has this affected your music career?
I tend to find a way to try and like deal with my problems a lot. So before I started my current medication, and I was on I went off the last medication because of the fact that it made me feel the way the song just talked about. I was starting to drink a lot and like things like that. It was like becoming like a thing where we'd be on tour, and because I would have these anxiety or like depression feelings, like I would drink to be like, okay, hey, I'm gonna calm myself down, So like it was definitely like something. I definitely think I started to overdo it a little bit. Still like to drink; it's fine. Like it's not like I was like going too crazy, but I definitely think it was making like the anxiety and depression was making touring really hard for me. And so I needed to find a way to, feel better about it, especially things like riding in a van and with a van and a trailer. And those vans are big, started thinking about like how vans can crash and stuff like that, just like freaking myself out over nothing,
worrying.
So it definitely like it affects the music in the way that I think like I'd write songs. But as for affecting like our band in general, I think it just kind of affected like the touring situation, which is it's really, really tough to be in a different place every day, no stability, especially when you're dealing with like high anxiety issues.
Right. So, but the writing must be a release. I mean, the opportunity to write songs is kind of therapeutic.
Yeah, it's absolutely therapeutic. I tell people that a lot when they ask me why I decided to write an album that is very introspective and like kind of about myself. I was like, honestly, that is my therapy. It's my way of getting it out there. If once I write and sing about it, I tend to feel a lot better about it.
And you also talk about writing songs, from what I've read about you, about body issues.
Yeah.
And so can you explain that? You look healthy. You look
thank you.
normal, in my opinion.
I was on a medication at the time that a side effect of the medication was like quick weight gain and a slow metabolism. And I had been, this small guy my entire life, like thin, my entire life. And it was somewhere around my mid-20s I started taking this medication, and I gained, I think, almost 100 pounds. And it's not like a super normal side effect. It's like one that kind of only happens to a few people here and there.
Wow.
But yeah, I gained like almost 100 pounds, and it made me just feel uncomfortable in my own skin after being this way for so long, and then now being a different way.
Someone else.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot about just I felt like I was different. I didn't see myself when I looked in the mirror, kind of thing. But yeah, no, I've lost some weight now. Doing a lot better, trying to stay fit.
Yeah, you look great. You look
Thank
great.
you.
So bear your mind, is this album, this is like your journey. This takes your fans and the listener on your journey.
Absolutely. With our first LP that we did like on a smaller label, it was mainly about a relationship that I'd had. Like the whole record was basically about this relationship that I had that was kind of life-changing, and for this record, I didn't want to write, the breakup song. I didn't want to write, love songs really or anything like that. I wanted to really dive into like who I am as a person and what has gotten me to that point. And kind of just like, it was really interesting to pick myself apart, kind of realize all my flaws and all my strong points. And it was definitely a process, but yeah, I wanted to go into more of like just about myself, and that's what the whole album is basically. It kind of runs and talks about a lot about how I feel about myself as a person and my journey through learning who I am, I guess.
Well, it's great to have brothers to lean on, in
absolutely.
the tough times.
Actually, our bass player, who isn't here right now, is actually my younger brother.
Oh, really?
So I actually
in the
have
truest
brothers,
sense.
so we know, yeah.
Well, we're so happy to have you here. Now, how'd you get the name Free Throw? I mean, are you basketball players? Or
we're all sports fans, for sure. Larry's probably the best at basketball out of all of us.
I played in middle school.
Did you?
That was about it.
He goes hard. He goes hard in the
that
paint.
makes you the best.
Yeah, that's pretty sad, I would say.
Yeah, he goes hard in the paint. We're all kind of awkward on the court, for sure, but we definitely love sports. We got the name Free Throw. The band had a different name, and another band in Nashville had the same name as us, or they're from the town over, and we didn't realize it, and they just kind of started showing up to shows that we were supposed to play. Like, oh, hey, we were on the flyer, I guess we're supposed to play. And we're like, no, we're supposed to play,
Right.
And so we were just sitting in a restaurant, like, we got to change the name, and my brother was just like, dude, let's just call it Free Throw. And we're just like, all right, that's it.
That's it.
And that's kind of how it came about.
I think a band should call itself Free Beer. You put that on the marquee,
Yeah,
place is going to be
everyone-
packed every night.
Oh,
I think I would follow that band around.
That's it. From tonight, Free Beer. Well, we've got Free Throw in our studios here on Border Crossings today. So would you guys do another song for us?
Yeah, absolutely. This next song is called Weak Tables, which it gets its name from pro wrestling. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan.
Are you?
So,
Was it The Rock or John Cena? Who would win?
The Rock.
All right.
I'm a rock guy for sure.
You're a rock guy. All right.
People's eyebrow.
He just did that with the eyebrow.
But yeah, this song, the name derives from, in professional wrestling, they use things usually they're gimmicked to, like tables will break and stuff like that. Or they use tables that aren't very strong. And the song is about social anxiety and not like really wanting to go like leave your house, that kind of thing. And how like you're very like frail, almost like in the idea of wanting to go. So I thought, calling it Weak Tables was a very good reference.
Appropriate. All right.
But yeah.
Free Throw.
On the outside, I'm a social butterfly. On the inside, it buries me alive. Barely getting by, scared of getting high. On the thought that anybody with a shovel could save my life. But I don't think that I want them to dig me up, I guess. I was tired of the light, but my eyes have finally had enough of rest. Forget it, I don't know. Forget it, I don't know. On the outside, I'm a social butterfly. But on the inside, I'm stuck in my cocoon. I wake up in the afternoon to my friends lingering around. I tell them see you soon, but I don't think that I ever will. Bring me out, let me spread my wings. But don't be upset if I decide to shed those things and go back inside. Back inside. Dig me up, I guess. Bring me out, lay my head to rest. Dig me up, I guess. Bring me out, lay my head to rest. Forget it, I don't know. Forget it, I don't know. Forget it, I don't know. Forget it, I don't know.
Free Throw. Now, listening to the song, I wouldn't think that's about wrestling. No, I'm just sitting here. Where's the connection to wrestling?
Yeah, it's with the idea that the wrestling table is weak when someone throws it on it. That my ability to interact with people outside
a
is
metaphor.
kind of weak.
So
Yeah, it's definitely a metaphor.
People have to know.
Yeah, it's kind of I've had to explain that title a lot. I'm kind of used to it.
So Ronda Rousey's now in the world of wrestling. Yeah,
she is, absolutely.
That's exciting times.
I also used Joan Jett, got licensed for her insurance, which is really awesome.
Well, we're glad you guys are here. I know you're on tour. How's the tour been going?
Awesome. It's been a lot of fun so far.
And what's been the highlight so far for you on this tour?
Wow, I don't know. We're playing a lot bigger rooms on this tour. There's a lot more people. We're on tour with a band called Knuckle Puck from Chicago, who are a pop punk band, and they are very popular.
Oh, yes.
And we're also on tour with a band called Boston Manor from the UK, who are also pretty popular, and a few other bands as well. But because those bands are popular, and we tend to play to a lot of people every night. So
Meet some new fans.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
the whole intention, is to go play with them and try to make some new fans, try to build our reputation a little bit, and but yeah, playing to basically a sea of people every night.
That's great.
Really
That's
cool.
fun.
When you crowd surf, at least someone's there
Yeah,
to catch you.
yeah,
you know?
that's
It's-
that's the cool thing about it.
Hopefully, yeah.
There's been people
The
like
lights are
running
too
and
bright,
jumping
and,
off the stage and like crowd surfing. And, like it's been a lot of fun so far.
into the pit. So, you guys doing festivals and the typical summer tour schedule?
I think we're actually headlining a festival over the summer.
Yeah, it's I don't know
called-
if it's announced.
Yeah, it's not announced
Oh,
yet, so I don't know.
we're
if
breaking news right now.
But yeah, we've been trying to do festivals and stuff like that. We're taking the summer off to kind of write for a little bit, because we've been on tour now for
Forever,
a
right?
really
I
long
mean,
time, basically since the album came out.
Yes.
So, yeah, we just got back from the UK and Germany, which was a lot of fun. It was our second time there.
Wow.
And we got home. We flew home from that.
Had like 10 days.
Had
here.
like 9 or 10 days at home, and then was right out back to this tour, which is a 6-week tour. So, yeah, we're gonna take some time off after this one. I think kind of rest up and write a little bit, and
Definitely.
then over the summer we're gonna do a couple shows at like festivals and stuff like that. We actually just announced recently that we're playing a festival with Newfound Glory
Great.
in Franklin, Tennessee. Of all
Breakfast
places.
Fest.
Yeah, it's called
Wow.
Breakfast. So it's actually a festival. It takes place in the morning, and like they have a bunch of breakfast places come and like serve coffee and give
Pancakes
breakfast to
and
people.
free throw.
Yeah. The best combination.
I think it'll be the earliest show we've ever played.
Oh, definitely. It's gonna be like 9 a.m.
I was going to ask about international touring, but you just said that you've been
Yeah.
to Germany and whatnot. So, what's that like? What are the crowds responding like to emo punk from America?
In the UK, it's quite the same as here in the States, but in places like France and some places in Germany, it's a little different, because they'll watch and they watch and see it as like a performance art. So they don't go as crazy, and like there's not like a mosh pit or anything like that. They're just kind of watching, and then after you play a song, it's like a little clap, and
Very good listeners.
and then at the end of the set, there's like a big round of applause, and everybody's like, "Oh, it was so good," Like I can't do a German accent,
Yeah, me
but
either. I just didn't talk while we were there.
but yeah, they'll like be like, "Oh, that was amazing," and I'm thinking in my head, I was like, nobody was going crazy. I'm used to like punk rock shows, where
Right,
people
right.
are like stage diving and like rock it out and like
Right.
running in a circle pit kind of thing. But yeah, I really love international touring, because it's just nice to see the world. We're doing something that kind of started, like I said, with a few beers and a few ideas in my basement, and now we get to travel the world because of it.
And a lot of people get to see a different kind of American music,
Yeah,
a different
for sure.
genre, different art form, get exposed to it. Some people, this is the first exposure to American music that they're having
Yeah.
when they come out to see you at a club or a venue. So, any plans for future international touring? We're reaching 100 countries right now. And
Yeah. We
definitely.
definitely want. We don't have any set in stone plans, but there's definitely like plans in the works for future international touring. I really hope to go to Japan someday.
Same. That'd be super nice.
We really want to do Australia and Japan. Also, the scenes there for our kind of music are like pretty good. So
Right.
we would love to do that. Also, Japan is just one I really want to knock off my bucket list.
But we have affiliates in both. We're on in
Nice.
Japan,
Awesome.
we're on China, we're on in many parts of the world.
Yeah, so if anybody hears us in
Hopefully
Japan,
we'll see
and
you
Australia,
soon.
I know, are listening to, New
Yeah.
Zealand. So,
if anybody in Australia and Japan hears us and really wants to see us,
where can they find you? I mean, your website?
yeah, you can find us on any, basically on any like streaming
service.
platform or anything like that. The Spotify's, the Apple Music's, that kind of stuff. You can find us on YouTube. That's an easy way. We have Twitter. We have any social media platform you can imagine. We are available and we'll talk to you on.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that some of your music is politically motivated. You've recorded or written songs with political overtones to them.
Yeah, occasionally. I try to. Sometimes I'll go in the political sense. More, it's more like just like with the mental health thing, kind
Right,
of like.
right.
But it's been quite some time since I've written like an actual political song. I have my political ideals, but
Sure.
I feel like our music, since it's so emotional, is a little bit set more towards like talking about emotional things.
Right.
When I mean, I'll write a political song if I get emotional about
Because
it.
right now it seems like this is. I mean, there was a time that it kind of goes in waves and peaks and valleys, and it comes back and it's all that. But now with the young people, because of the tragedies that have occurred in high schools, because of gun violence, there's marches, there's things going on. It seems we've got the attention of a large group of young people now.
I think young people today are becoming a little bit just more aware of of like the way the world is, like what's going on in the world and what's going on in our country. Internet, social media, things like that make things just so much more readily available. And so young people are becoming more aware of things that, they used to not be like, oh, politics, I don't care about any of that, kind of thing. And now it's like we see it all like right in front of our faces all the time. So we've become more aware of like situations like gun violence and stuff like that. We've definitely become more like, okay, this is happening a lot, so we need to figure something out for this. Like I think this generation, that especially the one that's coming up now, are looking for a solution rather than they look at the problem and they go, let's find a solution.
Yes.
And I'm kind of happy. I'm happy that people are motivated to change things for what they want, be it what it is.
It's great to get the young people interested in politics
Yeah.
because that's a big, huge vote, and
especially here in DC.
yes, exactly. And you are here tonight for a show.
Yes.
And you're here. Fall Out Boy are here.
Oh, wow.
For a show tonight. An anti-gun show as well.
Oh, wow.
There's a big show going on
Yeah.
with Fall Out Boy and a bunch
I'm
of
going to
other
be on the
artists.
hunt to find
maybe
Pete
we'll-
Wentz today.
Maybe we'll cross paths.
So you got two emo bands in D.C. at the same time. So
emo
if you
off.
guys wouldn't mind doing another song, we'd love to hear something else from you.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to play this one by myself.
Oh, guys, sorry about it.
I'm
Sorry,
fine,
we'll
sit
hang
back,
up here.
relax.
But this song is when I was talking about like dependency on alcohol and stuff like that earlier. This song is kind of about that when I was going through the time of I was drinking a lot and like just I was trying to find my way,
Right.
And I wrote a song about it.
We
And
all
it's
get
called-
lost every so often, and
Yeah,
this is about
absolutely.
finding yourself.
This song's called Randy, I Am the Liquor. And it's actually a reference to a TV show called Trailer Park Boys, in which it's a comedy television show from Canada. And the basically like the trailer park supervisor is like, he's always drunk. And
Okay.
he looks at his friend Randy and he goes, Randy, I am the liquor. And so he recently passed away, by the way. Rest in peace. But yeah, that's where the title comes from. And this song is called Randy, I Am the Liquor. Yeah.
All right. It's Corey from Free Throw.
Yeah.
Drunk in my room, alone again. For the second night this week, I call my friends, ask if they could come over, but they've got plans. They try to invite me, but it's not that exciting. Plus, there's bottles in my hand, so I just let them go. I'm letting go. Oh no, I'm letting go. Yo, can you hear me? Go numb and lose the feeling. Oh no, I'm letting go. Think that I have the willpower to do with my own life when everything is going sour. Only getting out to go to work or liquor stores. I can't take this bout, so I destroy my liver more. Oh no, I'm letting go. drunk in my room, alone again. For the third night this week, I call my friends, they don't care. Drunk in my room, alone again. For the fourth night this week, I call my friends, they don't care. Oh no, I'm letting go.
Wow. All right. Well, I know that's digging deep, and I know that there's a lot of emotion in that song, and most of the songs you write, because they come from a personal place.
Absolutely.
Which would typically be a very private place for most people, but you are in show business. You are on stage thinking about some very sensitive things. So I wanted to ask you, for the benefit of our audience around the world, where mental health isn't, I mean, it's not as discussed commonly as it is here these days in recent times. What did you learn that helped you to deal with the struggles that you faced? What could you, information or advice could you offer?
Absolutely. The advice I would offer is don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. If you're going through a hard time, and even if you don't have anyone to reach out to, I mean, reach out to me. Like if you feel so obliged. But it's always nice to reach out and have someone there to be a support system for you. I mean, that's kind of what the song is about. How like I'm almost reaching out to people in the song, you know, but then they have plans. Oh, come out. And then I'm like, oh, no, I'm not, you know, it's kind of like going right back into a shell like a turtle. Mm-hmm. But definitely reach out to people. Also, it was really nice with the writing process to like kind of like break myself down and like look at myself and realize what I needed to do to help myself. It was kind of like a revelation. I had it like close to the end of writing that, okay, yeah, I have these issues and these problems, and I need to take care of them. But yeah, I would definitely say just finding a support system is extremely great. There is especially here in the States, there is a organization for punk rock musicians to help them with their mental health while they're on the road and stuff like that. It's called Punk Talks. Shout out to my friend Sheridan, who runs it. She was pretty instrumental in getting me to finally go see a psychiatrist and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just nice to find some kind of support system or find a hobby or anything that just like kind of takes your mind off of the things that you wouldn't want it to be on.
Right. Well, first is admitting that you need some help, and then the second thing is not being afraid to find it, seek it, and ask for it. And it's there, but people just need to. And
if you are afraid, just know that it's normal to have issues.
We all do.
Yeah, it's not uncommon or anything like that. Like it's the realization that it's not a bad thing, and that you just need to fix something. You know.
Well, thank you. It's been very enlightening. I've really enjoyed meeting you guys.
Absolutely, it's been wonderful.
Hearing your music. You have a great voice and a great sound.
Thank you.
So, Bear Your Mind is the name of the new album, Free Throw. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us, Larry.
On the road, Free Throw. Thank you for tuning in. This is Border Crossings.